What's up, guys? It's Dynasty the Mountaintops back again for week 11 into 12. I am Mickey, your host, as well as my co-host, Jeremy. How you doing tonight, my man?
I am doing so good. How about yourself?
Doing phenomenal. We're in the heart of it, as we say every week. It is like crap or get off the pot time at this point. You kind of know where you're at, I feel like, unless you're right in the middle, which is nowhere. You never want to be in the middle, so hopefully you're not. But if you are, good luck there. But usually you know if you're in the playoffs, if you're not in the playoffs, especially in Dynasty. So by this point, and I mean, you're already in a playoff right now. So
Yeah. The one league that I'm in, or technically two leagues, because we follow the same skeleton in the league that I established of the first league we were in. So technically, two leagues are in playoffs already. They follow a 2-week format. But the other ones, no, it's you're scratching and clawing for the ones you either know you're in, you know you're out. But majority of us are scratching and clawing trying to get it in. So you're in the thick of it now. You're doing the absolute most research on waivers, most research on trades before the trade deadlines expire. It's absolute peak busy season for fantasy people.
yeah, and I was looking at the two Dynasty leagues I'm part of, and you kind of know if you're in or out. At this point, it feels like you're just jockeying for a position. Are you going to get the bye? Are you who are you going to play? Kind of things like that. So it's the end of the year here, regular season. We're coming down to what, 3 weeks left for most regular seasons. So you're just jockeying for position at this point, it seems like. So very, very, very fun. Hopefully we'll be able to help you win the best position possible for your league, as we are trying to do the same in ours as well. So this week we're going to talk about week 11, injuries, takeaways, and standouts. We're actually going to go with takeaways first this week, but talk about the injuries and standouts as well. Then we'll give you some flex options for week 12. We got a few teams on a bye, and we'll talk about that. And then we're going to go to something we've talked about probably like once every couple months, which is the trade database. Who are the top players being traded right now, and what are they going for, and do we agree, or what would we do, to give you an idea of those. So pretty excited. We'll do like 3 to 5 depending on how much time we have left, but the meat and potatoes is going to be, as we talk about every week, what the week that was and the week that's going to be, and then we'll finish up with that trade database there. So first off, number one takeaway, it is episode 50. We actually did 50 of these. Well, you did like 35, but we've done 50 of these, which is crazy. The idea that me and Jimmy came up with, and then obviously you jumped in and were guns a-blazing as soon as you stepped up. So that was awesome. But wanted to shout that out and say thank you for continuing when Jimmy said that it was just too much for him. So appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been absolutely fun. I've learned a lot on the way. And I get to talk to you every week. So hey, this is great.
Oh, I'm so flattered. No, it's really fun to reconnect with you. Obviously, we were friends in high school and kind of lost touch for a little bit. So it's been really fun to be able to connect back with you about something we both absolutely love, which is football, and also fantasy football and also dynasty football. So there you go. But that's enough of the gushing back and forth. I just wanted to bring that up. I couldn't believe we actually made it to 50. And for the few viewers that we do have, or the few listeners that we do have, if you were an original member, please let us know. We want to give you a shout out at the next show. So please let us know if you were with us since day one or day whatever. Let us know. But we also have a couple other takeaways, and you had a big one because we're finally home.
Yeah, it's my favorite. One of my favorite aspects of the league, probably because I enjoy watching football all day, and I don't live on the West Coast. So I have to take advantage of these international games. But yeah, we closed out on an international series, a successful one, the biggest in my opinion, from the amount of different cities and countries that have been exposed to it, but to 7 games that were on tap. There was a total of 481,300 people tickets sold, if you will, for those 7 games. Wow. So that's international. That's internationally almost over 481,000 tickets sold for seats. So that's great to see that there's support there, and that's across the board on all 7 games, so it's good to see. And then the attention was also focused in-house too. 2 of the top 5 viewed international games were this season from the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Vikings Ireland game, as well as the Colts and the Atlanta game that was most recently. They were 2 of the top 5 viewed international games. So the attention's there for our home folks. So just the not so distant future, we do have 2026. We have 2 new cities. We have Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Melbourne, Australia, which I'm looking forward to. That'll be fun to see. Yeah, we got the Los Angeles Rams are going to be the home team for that one. So we got Australia on tap for next year. But yeah, I always look forward to the international games. We had a successful one this round, and I'm looking forward to next.
Yeah, and how do you get the West involved? How do you get the West Coast teams involved? You go to Australia and Asia, right? So that's exactly what they did. Very smart move there. East Coast, obviously, we're going to go to South America 100%, Mexico 100%, and even branched over into Europe. But that's still really, really far for the West Coast. So pretty cool for them to figure out that they can branch out into Australia, and I'm sure it's going to be Asia soon as well. Japan, China, whatever. So
great call.
So it'll be fun. I love seeing the West Coast game or the West Coast games, the international games. For the simple fact of from 9:30 in the morning until hopefully only 11:30 at night, you can watch football. With maybe an hour gap where you can recap everything that happened.
Grab
after
yourself
the
a bite to
4:30
eat.
before the 8:15. So
grab yourself a bite to eat, shower, change your clothes if you need to. But yeah, they're glorious days. They're absolutely
hang out with
glorious
the kids
days.
For 40 minutes or so.
See, yeah, exactly. let the kids remind the kids what you look like, and then back at it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. But no, I absolutely love the international games too. I think it was a great idea. Because of that, I know West Coast, it starts at 6:30 in the morning. So
yeah,
sorry for you guys, but it's a lot of fun here on the East Coast. So, but yeah, I can't believe almost 500,000 people, 500,000 people attended those games, which is pretty incredible. With not one home team there, which is even crazier. So, really cool to hear that stat. I was blown away by that one. My takeaway today, other than episode 50, obviously, is there's a few teams I feel like are kind of ready for next year already, if that makes sense. Young core players that are getting hurt. And I've talked about it a little bit. So I'm talking about the Giants, Commanders, Bengals, Falcons. These are teams that are 3 wins or less, I believe. Or right around that 3 to 4 win threshold, that are not going to win their division, not going to make the playoffs more than likely, that have big time injuries, such as I think all 4 quarterbacks now for all teams, top receivers for most of these teams, 1 suspension, but we'll get into that. And I think even 1 or 2 of them have top running backs that are out as well. So that's usually pretty much your core. And I know this is more of an NFL take, and we sometimes do this for takeaways, but I feel like it's kind of time to shut it down for a few teams. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, see what your thoughts are. I know you don't like talking about the X's and O's too much on here, but for the Giants, Commanders, Bengals, Falcons, you have your quarterback set for next year. You have your wide receivers set for next year. You know kind of who your core guys are on offense, and even on defense, you have a little bit of injury as well. Why bring those guys back when you're not going to make the playoffs? And it's just going to hurt your draft position to bring back those big time players. So those are just my thoughts. I know doesn't mean too much to anybody, but that's what was going on in my mind this past weekend whenever I heard that Penix and London are both out, and I'm like, the Falcons should just pack it in. I had both of them on a dynasty team. I felt like I had a chance to win. And obviously I want London to come back, but if not, I can understand why NFL-wise. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I fully support this, especially because you're dealing with elite franchise players for all four of the teams that you mentioned. You're dealing with the quarterback for all four teams that you mentioned in a sense. And as you called, like the running backs as well, or there's two running backs. There's the Giants and the Commanders have running back issues as well. The Bengals have defensive issues across the board. The Falcons, unfortunately, have had their season kind of crumble underneath them due to some of these injuries. But we're dealing with four franchise quarterbacks. You're dealing with Jackson Dart with concussions, Jaden Daniels with his busted elbow, Joe Burrow with his turf toe that required surgery, and now you have two. You have arguably the top two superstars for the Falcons, both reflecting season-long injuries. So there's really nothing that these teams can do. These teams are all but mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. It's just a matter of time before all four of them are statistically told so that they're out. But I fully support it because, again, you're dealing with franchise players, you're dealing with franchise quarterbacks in all four cases, and these are players that franchises wish to have once every 15, 20 years. And if you have an opportunity to have it, why rush them back and damage the goods?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Joe Burrow, obviously, we all know he's amazing. But like Penix and Daniels, they've kind of, this is their second year. We've kind of know what they are. They're good enough to be NFL quarterbacks, NFL starters, I feel like. Penix a little bit less so, some people say. Fantasy wise, obviously not. But in the NFL realm, he's been okay. And then you have Jackson Dart, who's a rookie, but you've seen him 6 games. I find it hard to believe that no one believes he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. So why bring them back out, right? That's kind of always my thought process on that. So, but yeah, obviously we're talking about injuries already. We're going to get to the injuries now. But I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. That don't be surprised if unfortunately you have these guys in your dynasty league or dynasty team, and they may not be coming back this year, which unfortunately for your team would be the case. So find some other options is what I'm trying to get at, I guess. To be blunt about it. So some injuries also happened this past week. Obviously, we got quite a few. So we'll start with the most severe and work our way down from there as we do every week. So obviously, Calvin Ridley, broken fibula, he's out for the season. Some people are saying, all right, we're done with him. Fantasy-wise, career done. He didn't have a good year anyway this year. We'll see. I think he still has a lot of talent, but obviously out for the season for the rest of the season this year on a team who's going nowhere as well in the Tennessee Titans. Michael Penix, knee injury, re-injury of a bone bruise, but also ACL damage. He's put on the IR. I'd be surprised if you see him again this year as well. But we'll see. I haven't heard that from the actual sources or anything, but that's just my thought process there. Drake London, knee PCL is what Jeremy just let me know of. He left in overtime, and he's already going to miss this week and maybe miss some more weeks from what it sounds like. Josh Jacobs has a knee injury as well. Although he avoided serious injury, no surgery needed, and he may miss week 12. It sounds like he will. I'm hearing a lot of Emmanuel Wilson talk in the podcast that I've been listening to for redraft. So probably going to miss this week. So if you have Emmanuel Wilson or if you need to pick up Emmanuel Wilson, go ahead and do that. Daniel Gabriel, concussion. If he passes the protocol, he'll be able to start. Is what the coach says, but we all know how the concussion protocol works. Have a feeling that we're going to get a look at Mr. Sanders once again. Probably likely out there. Chamir DK, excuse me, I say that wrong all the time. Also has a concussion. He must pass the protocol. Same thing. Usually, if you have a concussion, you are going to miss the next week. Aaron Rodgers has a wrist injury, non-throwing arm, but it does look like Mason Rudolph's going to start for them. Jaylen Warren, same team, has an ankle injury, did not return after he got injured. Kenneth Gainwell, in his opportunity, had a great day, and we'll talk about him later. But may see Warren. I haven't heard. Warren said that he was going to be able to come back in if the game was needed, if it was needed in the game. but every single player ever has said that, it seems like. So I never really trust that. Jordan Love left the game but came back in. We always like to let you know about that because you never know if it was just adrenaline or if it's nothing serious. So, Kamani Vidal, a thigh injury, did not return. Bashal Tutin had an ankle injury, and same with Amari DiMarcardo, but I haven't heard much on them. Those were the big injuries that I heard of. Yes, I said Amari DiMarcardo was a big injury, but we also have the running back room getting a little bit healthier this week as well. So I don't know how important DiMarcardo is to most fans. So anything you saw, or what did I miss? Anything like that there, Ackman?
No bad little cleanup. I think you nailed it. Unfortunately, for these concussion ones, these are usually a week plus. It's very. I think there's only been one, if not two, cases ever where the concussion protocol was cleared the same week and they didn't miss a game. So it's hard to imagine that those guys will be out there this week. But yeah, Drake London with a PCL. Unfortunately, that's something that was bugging Brock Bowers earlier in the season, and it buggered Pearsall's attendance pretty much all season. So I kind of hope to see that PCL is nothing serious, and we do get London back for fantasy playoffs. But again, these are real humans who are doing real things. Let's hope for the safety and well-being that the PCL, if it requires him to be sidelined for the rest of the year, so be it.
Yeah, and if you remember the PCL with Bowers, especially Bowers, but also Pearsall, when they tried to play, it was like they weren't playing, right? They couldn't play up to their full potential. And then they finally decided to shut him down a little bit later, and it just prolonged the injury. So hopefully they're able to shut him down early so that he'll be back for your playoffs. Obviously, we want to make sure that the guy's healthy in general, but we are a fantasy podcast. So hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. And I'm kind of biased on that one myself because I need him. So but yeah, I mean, have you heard anything on the guys I didn't have much information on by chance?
No, I haven't heard too much on. I think Tutin is right on the level of Jalen Warren. I think he could have came back if it was absolutely necessary, but Tutin had himself a day. Warren was playing very well. And again, I believe these are injuries that are going to be minor. Jordan Love did come back. I'm not hearing any type of repercussions in regards to any type of setbacks that he had with the comeback. And I agree with Amari DiMarcardo. You never know with our listeners what kind of league sizes we're in. Mm-hmm. He was a hot commodity a few weeks ago, so hey, his absence could very well impact somebody.
Absolutely. And then we have a couple updates here. Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin both reporting for practice, possible return this week. We talked about that last week where they were limited in practice and they might be able to play, and then they got shut down on Friday. So it sounds like they may be back this week. We will see. Justin Fields got benched for Tyrod Taylor. And then Jamar Chase spit on somebody and is now suspended. I don't have much to say about that.
Yeah, it sums up pretty much. I'm a massive Jamar Chase fan, but I'm a bigger fan of integrity and decency, and neither one of those were honored and spit. He can argue what he wants, but as a Bengals / Steelers / NFL fan, I can look at this. This is one of the reasons why I love my unbiased attention, because I can look at this in a much level-headed aspect. And again, and Jamar was wrong in this aspect. I think it's clear as day that he did spit. It doesn't matter where the spit went. It was clear as day that it was not a talking saliva. That was an intentional, thing with a pulse like that came out. So I think he was absolutely in the wrong. Sad to see Justin Fields' season end this way. We'll see how Tyrod Taylor plays. We could see Fields come back, and I'm hearing the same thing on the Buccaneers. I think we actually see both of them this upcoming week.
Yeah, right after Sean Tucker has an incredible day. We'll talk about him later. I think that's funny. As soon as Sean Tucker last year had an incredible day, somebody came back last year too. It was really hilarious to me. And we're going to talk about our standouts now. So first off, my QB was QB3 on the week. Dak Prescott, you saw him last night, Monday Night Football. 25 of 33, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns. One to the tight end, three to his wide receivers. Everyone ate yesterday who was catching the ball. Um, if his team was somewhat 500 or better, or even like contending for a title, he's my front runner for MVP. To be honest with you, what he's doing has been great on offense. Their defense is starting to come around. It seems like as well. And then the other one is Brock Purdy. Welcome back. It's nice to see. 19 of 26, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on his first game back since week 4. He's only played 3 games this season. On every single one, he's been in the top 15 quarterbacks, so fantasy wise. So really nice to see him back. He was quarterback 6 on the week, and it was really funny that he came back, and then Pearsall all of a sudden is healthy, so they're going to be clicking. And unfortunately, they don't have a defense either, or fortunately for fantasy, they don't have a defense either. So I'd be running Brock Purdy into the ground on fantasy if I had him.
I was happy to see Brock Purdy come back, and I was happy to see Brock Purdy get some love here on your list. So good call with the selection there. San Francisco's offense clicks much better under Brock Purdy. It doesn't necessarily indicate that Mac Jones is a bad quarterback. I think he did fantastic during his Brock Purdy's absence, and I think the grumblings of indicating that Mac Jones could be the starting quarterback, or there was competition, if you will, was valid. But this is Brock Purdy's team, and he showed his numbers accordingly with his first game back. And I can't agree more with you on Dak Prescott. I think if he continues to do this, he could still get thrown into the runnings in regards to an MVP. The numbers are disgusting. His weapons are disgusting. And he's showing once when healthy and he has the opportunity to sling it, he loves to sling it.
He's probably not going to win it, but because of the record and all that. But he has to be at least in that conversation, right? That's all I wanted to bring up.
I think if they continue to win the way the games are, he is going to be in that competition and in that conversation. I mean, you consider here, we wear fantasy hats accordingly. But in a real life NFL world, we still have 7 more weeks of meaningful football to get played. And as far as I'm concerned, they're in an NFC that is not as polluted with talent and depth as the AFC. Like, we have the Chiefs right now out of the playoffs, which is mind-boggling. I mean, mind you, they're 5-5, but it's insane. But I'm getting sidetracked here. But nevertheless, I think Prescott does have an opportunity to be valid into the MVP conversations, especially if they continue to win. Speaking of MVP, let's talk about Josh Allen. Last year's MVP, he went 19 6 touchdowns. As much as Dak Prescott's 4 touchdowns deserved emphasis from you, Mick. Josh Allen said, "Here, hold my beer. Here's 2 more." He went 19 for 30 for 317 yards passing for 3 touchdowns, and then he had 40 yards rushing for another 3 touchdowns. In my opinion, this was the biggest statement win that Buffalo could do after they got embarrassed, if you will, by the Miami Dolphins. So this was them authoritating themselves to be back into this division race, and Josh Allen saying, "All right, guys, I'm back, and let's get this done." Another guy who came out who was absolutely fantastic was Bryce Young, who I wanted to call out. He was actually QB2 of the day. He set a franchise record with 448 yards passing out of 31 completions, and he had 3 touchdowns on the day. 2 stats that stood out to me the most about Bryce Young was obviously one of my favorite ones as a fantasy quarterback follower. No turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions. Fantastic clean day for Bryce Young. Second one is not getting enough credit is the Carolina Panthers wide receiving core. Not only did Tet have a fantastic day, which we'll get into in a little bit, but we had 10 different ball catchers catch the balls from Bryce Young. That includes running backs, from wide receiver cores to their tight ends, who now they have 3 tight ends in rotation catching balls. So they have a vast spread on how they handle the ball placement for Bryce Young, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, no, I mean, Josh Allen, he was on both of our lists. I just let you answered first. So obviously he had to be talked about. It was absolutely an incredible day. One of the best days I've seen from someone, to be honest with you. And then Bryce Young, it's always nice whenever it clicks for him. And every so often it does. And he looks like that number one pick that is just going to tear up the NFL. Hopefully this will continue. That's
Yeah,
all I can say.
I fully agree. I hope it does continue. He's shown his true colors of. Hopefully, these are his true colors of what they drafted him to be. And it's getting a little old to see the Carolina Panthers get their nose rubbed into that trade. So to see Bryce Young come out and start performing consistently is great to see.
Hey, and before you move on, Carolina is a half game out of the playoffs.
Thank you. Yes, that's a great point. And that's a great point. Carolina is sneakily in and working their way up there. They got themselves a nice little win streak going here. I think they've won 5 of the last 6 or something like that, or won 4 of the last 5. They are quietly working their way up there. And everything is working. Bryce Young is playing fantastic football. They do have Gallo running out of his mind. And like I said, under the radar, they have ball catchers who are doing great work, consistent work, nothing fantasy relevant, because you have these dudes catching 3 or 4 balls for 30-some yards. They're not doing anything in regards to the fantasy world. But when it comes to helping out Bryce Young and defensive schemes trying to defend one wide receiver or another, or another tight end or the one running back or another. Both running backs are catching the ball from outside the backfield. Both running backs are running with the ball. It's an offense that is under the radar, and it's being ran by Bryce Young, and he deserves his flowers. I do want to transition into the running backs here. I wanted to talk about running back 2 of the day. One of my favorite players in the league. I'm sure it's not the first nor the last I'm going to talk about him. Christian McCaffrey. He had 121 all-purpose yards out of 18 touches and 3 touchdowns on the day. He had 13 carries of which, and then 5 of 6 receptions for the 18 touches. He outscored and performed all the Cardinals by himself in regards to the running back, the way he worked in realistic statistics and as well as fantasy. So he outscored and performed the Cardinals running back teams and outscored them in a real life scenario. He's the clear running back 1 with the usage and scoring, in my opinion, in a fantasy perspective. The other running back I wanted to call out is Kenneth Gainwell. As much as Jaylen Warren was having himself a day, Kenneth Gainwell stepped into the openings that he was given, especially post Jaylen Warren's injury, and something to keep an eye on, because Kenneth Gainwell had 16 total touches for 105 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns, 9 of which were carries, 7 receptions out of the backfield. Again, Jaylen Warren did not finish this game, and he is not 100%. Kenneth Gainwell was the lead receiver and rusher post Jaylen Warren's injury. So those are things to keep an eye on, for not only giving him his flowers as well, but also keeping an eye on for these next few weeks here with Jaylen Warren not 100%.
Yeah, and if Jaylen Warren does miss any time, I know it was against Minnesota and Cincinnati, not great run defenses. However, if you have him and are lucky to have him, fire him up if Jaylen Warren's not playing, 100%. He is absolutely mashed whenever he's had the opportunity to himself. So, then Chris McCaffrey, there's nothing else you can say about him. I mean, we talk about him almost every week because he's just insane. He was the whole offense earlier in the year, and now he's the pure running back and just absolute domination. If you were smart enough to grab him while his stock was a little down because of the injury last year, kudos to you. But for me, the only person who could beat Christian McCaffrey this week, huge name on the week, on the list, obviously, Sean Tucker, third string running back. But he was the number 1 running back this week. 19 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caught both of his balls for 34 yards and another touchdown in 44% snap share. I like to bring up the snap share because this means that he didn't even get 50% of the carries. It was still, or 50% of the snaps. It was still Rachaad White's team, quote unquote. But Sean Tucker definitely made the most of it. Real quick, just a little story for you. So I was playing the best team in one of my keeper leagues, right? And keeper league's semi-dynasty, so I think it's relevant. Yes. So he has Jonathan Taylor. Well, Jonathan Taylor's on a bye this week. And guess who he substituted Jonathan Taylor with? Sean Tucker. So it was like I played Jonathan Taylor anyway on his bye week. so I still lost. But I thought it was really funny because I was like, oh, yes, I don't have Jonathan Taylor anymore. He's putting in Sean Tucker. How many points can he really get?
Here comes Sean Tucker.
Yeah, I lost by 1 point. So it is what it is.
That's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is, but Sean Tucker had a heck of a day. Congrats to him. Unfortunately, Bucky's coming back, so this is probably the last we're going to talk about Sean Tucker. Trevion Henderson, running back 3. Yes, I know I talked about him last week. I don't care. I talk about him every week, it seems like. 19 carries, 62 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also caught all 5 of his balls for 31 yards and another touchdown. Caught Drake May's lone touchdown as well. So 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. I think we unlocked something here. And God help the defenses that this team plays. Now that Drake May, everyone knows what Drake May is doing, and then you add this weapon in, good luck. That's all I'm going to say.
Well said. I mean, he definitely, if he was playing at the beginning of the year at this caliber, he would definitely be in the running for a Rookie of the Year candidate. Trevion Henderson, that is, you bring up a great point. He has now made that offense lethal because you were able to stack the box some against Stevensons in the world, but it's hard to defend against Henderson and Drake May simultaneously. And yeah, tip the cap to Sean Tucker. I'm sorry for your loss, but the man balled. And like you said, just 44% snap share. It's he did a lot with a little, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, like I said, for Sean Tucker, it's the week that probably Bucky Irving's coming back now. So they're both going to be sat on the bench, and you might see a little bit more Sean Tucker, but it's going to be a Bucky Irving show, I got a feeling. Moving on, I have wide receiver, another rookie, Tedderone McMillan, wide receiver 1 on the week. We talked about his quarterback, and he absolutely ate. 8 for 12, or 8 catches on 12 targets. Let me rephrase that. 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. I feel like this was like, it wasn't necessarily a breakout game, but it was the star game. Does that make sense? Like, hey, this is the guy. That's how I felt about this week. So, great job by Tedderone McMillan, and like you said, the rest of the Carolina Panthers. If they can bolster that defense, they got some things cooking on that. How young this team is. So fun to see. But Tedderone McMillan, absolute stud this week. Also, your boy, George Pickens, who I always thought was going to be the number 2 to CeeDee Lamb. Well, he was the number 3 wide receiver overall this week, and CeeDee Lamb wasn't 2. 9 catches on 11 targets, 144 yards, and a touchdown. Yes, CeeDee Lamb did eat as well. However, George Pickens absolutely went off. He had a 40 to 45 yard receiving touchdown, I believe it was, where he caught the ball like in 5 yards down the field and then just made every single player on the defense miss. It was hilarious. And so it looked so effortless. Absolutely I love watching George Pickens when he's like this. And it doesn't happen all the time, especially with 11 targets. That's something you don't typically see with Pickens. So if he can continue with as many earning these targets, man, I don't know who's going to be able to stop this offense, especially with Dak throwing it.
So far, no one's been able to. I mean, Dak, like the way we've been talking about Dak's numbers, so far that offense can't really be stopped. George Pickens had to play off that catch. It was one of those catches where it was 45 yards statistically, but he probably ran about 88 yards on the field when he was maneuvering and cutting up and down, running horizontally and vertically. So it was a fun one to watch. I know exactly which one you were talking about.
Yeah, he started on the right-hand side, caught the ball, and then just ran all the way around and then ran back to the middle. It was awesome.
100%. It was. I knew exactly which one you were talking about, and that just shows the gifted talent that he is, and what he can do in a high-powered pass offense. The wide receivers I wanted to talk about was Jameson Williams coming in at wide receiver 6 on the day. He was the only exception to an absolute horrible offensive performance by the Detroit Lions. Nobody really got going, and that offense really didn't get going. But he did go 4 for 7 for 97 yards and the lone touchdown for the Detroit's offense. And I call it the touchdown because it's just he hasn't touched on the last 3 games. Jameson's really starting to click in that offense now. Dan Campbell's starting to call the plays. And Dan Campbell knows how to push his buttons. So we're starting to see a little bit more Jamo coming out here. And I'm thrilled to see this because I have been a Jamo fan and I've been waiting to see this come out and consistently as it is. The other wide receiver I wanted to call out is a name that we normally don't, but the man deserves all the credit that he is possibly going to be given. Michael Wilson out of the Arizona football team. He was wide receiver 2 on the day. Michael Wilson, wide receiver 2. He had 18 targets. That is unheard of for any position. He had 18 targets, and he ate during those 18 targets, catching 15 of them for 185 yards. He unfortunately did not cross the end zone, but he did average out a 12.3 yard per catch stat line, which is unheard of, top of 18 targets. So 15 receptions, which is, again, he did a lot with what he was able to get, and at 12.3 yards per catch. Exciting things are going to be continuing to come Mike Wilson's way.
Yeah, and we didn't say this earlier, but shout out to Jacoby Brissett. 47 completions. That's a lot of throwing the ball. And Michael Wilson absolutely ate for that reason as well. Obviously, Harrison was hurt this game, so he became the de facto number one. And he absolutely ate. And we'll talk about someone else on that team that ate as well. So, and then J-Mo, man, Dan Campbell should have been calling the plays all year if you had him on your roster. Because since that's happened, J-Mo's been the man for sure. And and a little side note, that Philly defense looks scary as can be.
Yeah, they do. And they're getting hot when it's time to get hot. And that's what championship teams do. And that's why they are in the position that they are. And that's why they are the defending champs that they are. And look out, because that defense is clicking. Fully agree. Somebody else who's fully clicking, fully back, Travis, Taylor Swift, Kelsey. He was tight end 3 on the day. In my opinion, he is showing his absolute true colors that he is back. He had 13 targets from one Patrick Mahomes, catching 9 of them for 91 yards, and he got a touchdown. He was the leader in all targets and reception yards for the Chiefs. He is back as wide receiver 1, even though he's tight end 1. The other one I wanted to give a shout out to was A.J. Barner out of the Seattle Seahawks. He was tight end 5 on the day, and he had himself a great stat line because he went 10 for 11 for 70 yards, but he also went 2 carries for a yard. And I bring this one up because A.J. Barner is 6'6", 251 pounds, and is the Pacific tush pusher. The Seattle Seahawks have their own tush push, and it's established and set up by A.J. Barner. A.J. Barner was a former quarterback in college, and he gets under center, and he handles this like a tush push. He had 2 carries. One of them was successful, and he had 2 successful tush pushes in the week prior. So A.J. Barner is a name to look out for because he can get behind center. He knows what he's doing behind center, and they can get really tricky if teams start leading on to him being in behind center as a tush push candidate. It could get really tricky with A.J. Barner, and it would be fun to see. But A.J. Barner, 10 and 5 of the day, 10 for 11, again, 70 yards, and the Pacific tush pusher.
How much fun would it be to see if they play call out of it and instead of like fake tush push and throw a pass with AJ Barner? That'd be fun.
The options are endless with that. They really could have some fun with it if they can get themselves establishing them as that playmaker in regards to the tush push. Teams are going to bite on it just like a play action. They're going to indicate thinking he's going to be a tush push and he's going to be able to step back and get some dink and dunk pass that's going to go for 40 yards. It's going to catch some people off. I'm telling you, look out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And AJ Barner's been on here more often than we expected. That's for sure. So shout out to AJ Barner there and Travis Kelsey, the GOAT. I say every single time I say his name. It's true in my opinion. Another great week. I mean, it's consistent. It's not as consistent as it used to be, but it's still consistent, if that makes sense. So it's nice to see him on here more often than not. So for me, I went with the guy who is never on here. But I got to watch the game because it is a hometown pick for the Steelers. I got to do at least one, right? Darnell Washington, tight end 8 on the day. The number 3 tight end. He might be number 1 at this point. Who knows? They don't know either.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows who's 1, who's 4 because Hayward gets passes too. So who knows what's going on there? They all eat 4 catches on 5 targets, 67 yards. But who cares about all of that?
I know where you're going, sir.
So he caught one pass where I think it was like a 5-6 yard out. Or across the middle or whatever. He catches the ball, slows down, stiff arms the guy like he's Derrick Henry, only 6 inches taller, and then proceeds to go to the sideline. One guy just falls off of him because he doesn't want to touch him, and then he ends up probably 25 yards, 30 yards down the field, I believe. And then the guy who ends up getting him out of bounds, I think he just kind of stepped out because he was tired, went 5 yards back after Darnell pushed him. It was hilarious. It was one of my favorite plays of the year. And this dude is, I hate saying these two words together, but he is 6'7".
Boy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He is 6'7", has hands, can move, can jump, and it is like a prototypical tight end. Like, I don't know. People are talking about making him a left tackle, and yeah, he might make more money. But man, he is such a playmaker that it is so much fun to see. I love watching this dude play football because it is like the Little Giants, only he's the Dallas Cowboy. If you ever seen that movie, it is hilarious to watch this guy play. So I'll get off my soapbox now from the Steelers here and talk about someone who I talk about almost every week as well because he's just by far the best tight end in the NFL right now. Trey McBride, tight end 1 again. 2 weeks in a row. 10 of 10 catches on 11 targets, 115 yards, and a touchdown. 5 straight games with a touchdown when he was touchdown deprived previously in his career. So obviously Jacoby Brissett's able to make that happen for him. I don't care that we talk about him almost every single week. When you score 30 points 2 weeks in a row, you deserve to be talked about, basically. So he's my other shout out there this week.
I'm glad you brought up Darnell Washington. I don't care. He's tight end 8. He was tight end 1 with that catch and run alone. It was like if you increased your running back on Madden to a 99 overall, and he hit the stiff arm, he hit the juke, he hit the truck stick, he did it all, man, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And Trey McBride's my tight end in the league that I'm for a returning champ. So I have a special place in my heart for Trey McBride. I understand his importance, and I am loving Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals at this point because Trey McBride has exploded with Brissett under center.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I'm a huge, as I've said multiple times on here. I am a Kyler Murray truther. I think he's better than what he's been shown on the field, or they've been shown on the field. But you can't argue with statistics. And Trey McBride is definitely eaten better with Jacoby Brissett. So we're going to move into flex options. The bye weeks this week. Pretty important, at least for some people, I'm sure. I know me as one of them, for sure, with the Miami Dolphins. But we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos have a bye here. Bo Nix, J.K. Dobbins, who is injured, but might be coming back. R.J. Harvey, Courtland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Evan Ingram, I guess. I don't even know where he's at. But I figured I'd put him on here just in case someone's still starting him for some reason. Los Angeles Chargers, we got Justin Herbert, Kamani Vidal, who also got injured a little bit. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Oronde Gadsden. A bunch of pass catchers there. Miami Dolphins, Tua, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle. Washington Commanders, Marcus Mariota, I guess. Bill, Ja'Cory Cross-Moore, I guess. Chris Rodriguez, Terry McLaurin, who's been injured, Deebo Samuel, who had a nice week last week, and Zach Ertz. So quite a few different players out there that are really on that flex radar themselves. that you may have to find someone for. So we're going to go with our top 5 options a piece, and I'll let Jeremy start with number 5.
The guy I'm going to throw on this list here deserves to be on this list, especially at this stage of his career, is Alvin Kamara against the Atlanta Falcons. The Alvin Kamara and the New Orleans Saints are coming off a bye week, and they're also coming off a better offense with Tyler Shook. He's playing at a level that is giving them a chance to win some of these games, and is allowing this offense to actually produce in some of these players. And Alvin Kamara's coming off one of his best games. He's coming off of his best game of the season. With 25 carries and 115 total yards. So I'm going to throw an Alvin Kamara against an Atlanta defense, an Atlanta team that seems to be getting a little beat up confidence-wise and record-wise.
Yeah, I like the call actually because he is coming off a bye week, I believe, and older players coming off a bye week have 8 this year, as we just talked about Travis Kelce, and also Derrick Henry did that earlier in the year as well, or earlier this year. So I like this call. They get a little bit of rest and they can play for a week. So let's see it. My number 5 was actually added to the list because we have the same one-on-one of ours, and I let Jeremy take it this week. So my number 5 is a little controversial. AJ Brown playing the Dallas Cowboys defense, though. Of course. So the first game they ended up running all over Dallas with Javonte Williams, the shock. First week of the season, no one expected it. But Dallas's run defense actually got a little bit better with Quentin Williams. So I believe that the wide receiver is going to eat this week. And in particular, A.J. Brown. The Cowboys are allowing the second most receiving touchdowns in 23, allowing the fourth most receiving yards in 2,684, and tied second most 40-plus yard receptions allowed in 9. The guy who would get those receptions on this team is 100% A.J. Brown. Smith is more of a intermediate short yardage guy. He can go down the field, but A.J. Brown's really there down the field guy. So I believe A.J. Brown's going to have a big game this week. Not saying that he's back, but he'll have a big game this week.
No, I like the ad of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they are the NFC Bengals when it comes to defensive team. So let's hope that the Eagles wide receivers do in fact feast. And I love the call out of Quentin Williams, and I love the call out of how that's going to impact Saquon Barkley. I do agree with you that the wide receivers are going to do well, and AJ Brown in particular is going to have himself a day. The fourth one I wanted to bring up was number 4 on my list. This is the one that we had an agreement on, so we're in a mutual standpoint. Where I'm going to go with a tight end, Hunter Henry, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Ironically, the AFC Bengals, the AFC Cowboys, if you will, in regards to the defense. Hunter Henry is the New England Patriots' number 1 red zone threat when it comes to receiving. And the Bengals have allowed the most receiving touchdowns at 25. They allowed the 5th most receiving yards at 2,600. And they are tied 3rd for the most 20-plus yard catches at 37. All of these are going to be statistics that are going to work in Hunter Henry's favor. I do believe that DJ Turner is going to be on Stephon Diggs, so that's going to allow that middle of the field open up a little bit more.
No, I like that call. And thanks for correcting me. I did not mean Javonte Williams on that. I did mean Saquon Barkley. Thank you for catching that for me when I talked about A.J. Brown and the run game for the Eagles. But for me, I do have another running back, number 4, Woody Marks, playing the Buffalo Bills defense. They're allowing the most rushing touchdowns in 17, 4th most rush yards allowed with 1,530. And tied 3rd most 20-plus yard runs with 11. So add that all up, and the Bills' run defense is absolutely terrible. So Woody Marks should be able to eat.
I have 2 stocks of Woody Marks, and he has done very well for me this year. And he has continued to go into there and continue to steal targets, steal yardage, steal carries off of Nick Chubb and Mixon, who's on the side of a milk cart at this point. So love me some Woody Marks calls. My number 3, and this is going to be wide receiver out of Baltimore, Zay Flowers. The Ravens will face the Jets this week, so I do like Zay Flowers against the Jets, who have lost Sauce Gardner and don't necessarily have a number 1 corner. They got a poor pass they got a poor pass defense, and going against Baltimore's passing offense in a game that Baltimore and Lamar and company theme every game. This moving forward a must win. Odds are in the favor of Zay Flowers. He has had himself a recent touchdown drought, but Flowers has maintained high volume and targets. This is another reason why I wanted to add him on here. He's seeing 5 to 6 targets per game. He's averaging 7.1 targets a game. If you want to go to the statistical route, out of the 10 games he's played, he's received 71 targets. So he's at 7 targets a game. So this is going to work in his favor this week, and I have confidence that Zay Flowers is going to get a touchdown.
Man, I hope so. I need him. So I appreciate you putting him on the list. My number 3 is DK Metcalf. Yes, I'm a homer. Absolutely. Playing the Bears defense, though, they're allowing the most 20-plus yard catches and 38 of them. And also tied 4th most receiving touchdowns allowed in 21. If someone's catching the ball down the field 20-plus yards, there's only probably 1, maybe 2 options on this team that would do that. One of them is DK Metcalf. I think they started feeling something last week early in the game, so I believe they'll be able to do so this week as well. So I have DK Metcalf firing it up.
Nothing wrong with being a homer, especially if you're going to preach facts, accurate facts. I love the DK Metcalf call. The Bears defense has been sus at best. They've had some good flashes and doing things here and there, but no, DK and company should do well, no, regardless of the quarterback is. My number 2 is going to be Bashal Tootin. He had himself his best career game in a shortened career that it is, but it was his best career. It was a season high of 15 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown against the Chargers' stout rush defense. He did leave the game there with an ankle injury, but all signs point to the injury being minor. So I do anticipate him to play against the Arizona Cardinals. He's had 3 touchdowns with what limited volume that he's had, 2 rushing and 1 receiving. So he shows he's been well-rounded in the red zone. And Arizona's 6th in rushing yards allowed in the past 3 games. So that's opening up the field for both Tootin and ETN to do a little bit more job sharing.
Yeah, Tootin seems to be getting the ball more and more and more, and for good reason. He's been playing well, so hopefully that continues for him. Love the call. For me, I know you're going to love this call because this is one of your dudes. David Montgomery playing the Giants defense. I haven't talked about David Montgomery too much this year because I love Jahmyr Gibbs, thinks he might be the best back in the NFL. But David Montgomery also is still there. Let's not forget that. And the Giants are allowing the most rush yards with 1,649, tied 2nd most rush touchdowns with 15, and tied most 20-plus yard runs allowed in 12. Now, yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to eat as well, I have a feeling, but David Montgomery you can give him the Undertaker gift because I think he's been dead for the last few weeks. I think he comes back this week.
Undertaker gift indeed. He's had some quiet weeks, but I am all aboard the David Montgomery being good because just like you needing some Zay Flowers, I could use me some David Montgomery. So all aboard that train. All aboard this train as well. My number 1 of the day is going to be wide receiver out of Los Angeles Rams, Davante Adams. He has a league-leading 10 receiving touchdowns on the season and has consistently been a top target for the Rams. He's playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are the 5th in passing yards against, including the 317 against them last week by Josh Allen in that shootout, if you will, against the Buffalo Bills and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay's averaging 271 passing yards against in the past 3 games, and this is just has written all over for Stafford to feast. Inside the 10, Adams has 7 touchdowns on 7 receptions out of 14 targets. And again, it's inside the 10. And he has 22 total red zone targets, and that leads the NFL. So not only does Davante eats an important territory, and they're playing against a team that's going to allow that territory to be open, just like they did last week against Buffalo, and I expect Davante Adams to do well.
No, I love that call. Davante Adams, 10 touchdowns, that's crazy. That's almost 1 a week, or it is 1 a week. So that's pretty incredible for him. For me, I don't know if we can really consider this a flex, but after the game he had and who he's about to play, I couldn't resist. Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver number one this past week. Maybe not a flex, but in where he's at stats wise, he actually is. 49ers D is who he is playing. They are allowing the second most receiving touchdowns or receiving yards, 2,817, tied fourth most receiving touchdowns in 21. He's coming off his massive target week. I think they just continue this with the terrible defense because they're all hurt on the 49ers. I'm looking forward to this shootout between two teams who are fighting for a playoff spot. So, really excited to see Tetairoa McMillan back it up again this week and hopefully get in the end zone.
Love me some Tet, and love me what Carolina's doing. And to call out what you called out earlier, keep an eye on them. They're lurking around and playoff threaten, and Tet is definitely one of the main reasons why.
Absolutely, they're figuring it out, man. They're getting close now. So what we're going to do now, we gave you 10 options of good opportunities to, if you need to, buy or pick up or trade, or if you already have them, put them in your lineup because we think they're going to go off this week. But we're also going to look at some players that the most traded players in the league. And we've talked about A.J. Brown enough. I feel like when we do this exercise, so he is still the number one on the list, but we're not going to talk about him this week. We're going to go to someone who I'm surprised looks like the number 2 wide receiver being traded, Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
We're going to talk about baller. Yeah, I know. If he's available in your league, go see what it costs, honestly. And we're going to tell you right now what it costs. So here's an interesting one, a package for Jefferson. A.J. Barner, Brian Thomas, DK Metcalf, 2026 third-round pick. This is a 2-quarterback, 12-team, start 9, full PPR, half-point, tight end premium.
I'm going to see if I can get that third bump to a second, and then I'm slamming that trade.
All right.
I think not to provide. I mean, I think if you are competing, now's the time that you want to sell Justin Jefferson because there's so much uncertainty in regards to J.J. McCarthy. He does not. I don't want to say he looks like a bust, but he does look like he's going to be a little bit of a project. So you're going to have to be patient if you're going to have anybody in the J.J. McCarthy stocks, either having him directly or his 2 main wide receivers in Addison or Jefferson. So by knowing the return, I would feel comfortable in taking this trade.
Interesting. See, it would have to be an incredible trade for me to get rid of Jefferson, which I found a couple, but I would probably take Jefferson over the package, especially in a start 9, smaller starting amount of players. So who knows if even half of those are going to be starters for you that you end up trading for.
It seems like a good segue. Then why don't you hit us with one of these ones that you feel that would be a little bit more of a contemplation?
Okay. So we have Justin Jefferson in 2-quarterback, 12-team, start 11, half-point PPR, 1 point tight end premium. Extra there. We got Justin Jefferson for George Kittle and A.J. Brown. This is one that I would have to at least think about with the 1 point tight end premium and George Kittle. I am still a believer in A.J. Brown as well. They're kind of the same, only A.J. Brown's not getting it done at all. And, well, Justin Jefferson at least is relevant in the conversation, kind of a wide receiver too right now. A.J. Brown is kind of tough to start as of right now, but I have a feeling he's either going to be somewhere else or the system's going to change. I can't see how you have A.J. Brown on your team NFL-wise and not use him. And he also is a squeaky wheel that is pretty blunt about things, which is why he is not in Tennessee anymore. So I could easily see making this trade for the added bonus of having George Kittle down the stretch with the way their offense is playing at my tight end spot. That would greatly help me. One of the top 3-4 tight ends in the NFL. So this is one that I would at least think about. I think because you have a hammer and a half is how I look at that, if that makes sense. What about you?
It does make sense, but I think I am much more prone to be taking the original package that we discussed
The
3 minutes
big
ago versus this one.
yeah.
I don't believe I am as much of an AJ Brown believer as you. I don't necessarily neglect talent, but I do believe age is catching up on these types of wide receivers. He kind of reminds me of like a Julio Jones, where he's gonna be an elite talent. He's gonna have his flashes, but he's gonna have to adjust his game style. He's gonna have to adjust his just his overall approach to be a nightmare more within the field, the center of the field versus what he's been normally capable of. And George Kittle, I can't see a season where he's played the full 16 games, and I don't want him to be out there in those important ones for me. I think I'm taking Jefferson on this deal.
No, I can understand that. Like I said, it was pretty close. That was one that I would at least contemplate. So I like your thought process there. There was one that I just lost. We'll do two more because I found two more that are pretty interesting. Now this depends on how much you believe in Marvin Harrison, but Justin Jefferson in a two quarterback, 10 team, start 10, full PPR, no premium for tight end because it doesn't really matter in this. Justin Jefferson for Marvin Harrison Jr. in a 26 first and second.
Ooh,
Uh huh.
that's a good one. I think immediately for the sake of time, I'm gonna go with the Harrison and the picks. For the sake of for the same reasons why I want to take the big package in regards to JJ McCarthy being a project. Now I understand there's a lot more uncertainty in regards to the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray is the better quarterback between him and JJ McCarthy, but we all have heard the news by now that the Arizona Cardinals are kicking the tires on not necessarily bringing Kyler Murray back. So there's a lot more uncertainty in regards to the Arizona field than there is on what we're seeing already with the early preliminaries of JJ McCarthy. But to that point, I we're seeing what Jacoby Brissett's doing with Michael Wilson. Let's get Marv Harrison in there with Jacoby and see exactly what he can do with a game or two under his belt, with full starting of Jacoby Brissett and seeing a little bit more what he can do. Because remember, we had that game with Marv Harrison where he had the 6 receptions on the one drive, or 3 receptions on the one drive, or something on those lines. So um, I think I'm taking the Marv deal and the picks. I'm getting myself some picks. I'm getting myself a wide receiver who potentially could equal scoring of Justin Jefferson for the remainder of the year. And I'll worry about the tier change in my wide receiver with the draft picks that I acquired.
Yeah, I fully support. At least this one's probably the best one that I've seen so far. For dropping Jefferson for a younger wide receiver who I think can be as good with the right kind of quarterback. And you get an extra two picks in a decent draft, not a great draft, but 26 is shaping out to be a little bit lesser, but not terrible. So you get that first round pick and then also a second round. I like that deal.
I like this. I like this one out of the three of them you've told me the most. Like I think this is the best for all parties.
Yeah,
And I think this is the best return you're gonna get.
yeah. And then the last one for Justin Jefferson here: two quarterback, 12 teams, start nine, full PPR. Justin Jefferson for two first round picks in 2026 draft.
I think it solely depends on where I'm at as a team. Like I know that's the obvious answer, but I think Justin Jefferson being valued worth of 2 first round picks solely relies on where you stand as a franchise in a dynasty moment. I think if you are a team that is competing, this is something you don't even think about. You laugh it off and you move on. It's a complete absolute no. But if you're a team that you are on the outside looking in, you're not even a team that's in the middle. Like I'm talking like a team that's even a team that's in the middle. I mean, it's something to consider. But if you're not a playoff team or going to be a playoff team, I think this is a hard one for you to flat out say no to, especially both of them being early or both of them being in 2026. You don't have to wait for any type of aging of these picks.
Yeah, I would say if you are a contender and you need Justin Jefferson, you could wait till the end of the year or until you're out of the playoffs or whatever, and then make this deal.
Yeah. Timing's big on this one as well. It's a good call out.
I really like this deal. 2 firsts for a player that I don't trust the quarterback, even though he is probably the best receiver in my opinion, skill set wise. We have finally found a quarterback who does stop him. We we weren't able to find one the first few years of his career, but for some reason, JJ McCarthy's that one who can't get him the ball for some reason. So I am a little bit worried about Jefferson. So I can reset with two first round picks. That's a lot of damage you can do, and you can move those around if need be to get better players as well, if you wanted to. So I like that. So we're gonna. But we both agree that Marvin Harrison's probably the best one out of this, right?
Yeah, I like that. Out of the
that's
ones you've
the
given
move.
me, I think that's the one I'd take. I think I'd rank first.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, the first and the second. I think I take that. I think I take that one. I think I like that one the most because I think I take that regardless of my situation. I think regardless if I'm winning or losing, I think regardless of beginning of the season or end of season, like I think that's one that I'm taking. Not that it's a smash except that I fleeced them, but to me that is a reputable return at any given moment of the season, at any juncture from any team to move Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, now you have to believe in Marvin Harrison Jr. Don't get that twisted, but
Yes,
we both do. So
we both do. Yes.
we obviously think that's a good one. Another guy who's moving a lot here, R.J. Harvey. Obviously, the number one running back right now because of J.K. Dobbins going down. He's been playing well the last few weeks. Excuse me. He's been playing well the last few weeks. R.J. Harvey in a 2 quarterback, 12 team, start 10, full PPR, half point tight end premium. Don't know if that really matters in this. 2026 first round pick.
Right now, I'm taking it. I'm taking the deal for the first round pick because Harvey's done a lot with a little volume, but Harvey's had a little volume, and they're already starting to incorporate Jaleel McLaughlin into the mix with Dolphins being out. If RJ Harvey is not going to run away with this RB1 stature from Denver, then he's not going to run away with it at all this year. If they're not going to trust him to run away with it, then he's not going to have it at all this year. Jaleel McLaughlin already got a rushing touchdown last week, and RJ Harvey was involved, but I think I'm taking the pick if the opportunity comes around. Right?
Yeah, I'd be taking the pick all day. I think you can. There's another one similar that we'll talk about in a second, but I think if you can get off R.J. Harvey quicker, sooner rather than later with the number one pick, I would do it because you're right. I don't think they want him to be the number one back. I think they want to split time here, and with this offense, I don't know if I want any part of split backfield running back wise. RJ Harvey has been successful there the last few weeks. So if you do believe in him, obviously you're going to not take this deal. But I'd be trying to get rid of him with a first round pick. I would absolutely deal it. This is another similar one. I think. Tell me what you think. Tell me which one you like better, actually. So this is 2 quarterback, 12 teams, start 9, full PPR. RJ Harvey for Brian Thomas.
Ooh. That one's the better trade. I'll tell you that right now because this one's definitely a stumper. Like this is one of those ones that plays into what Jim used to say. If it makes you uncomfortable on either side, it's probably a good trade. This one makes me uncomfortable on either side. If I'm getting Brian Thomas or if I'm losing RJ Harvey, it makes me equally as excited and equally as uncomfortable.
Okay. I would rather the first. I'll say that. For me, I think Brian Thomas is going to be very good, but there's going to be a lot of weapons there. I have a feeling they're not done building that offense, and they already have pretty good weapons there right now. So the ball's going to be going around, and I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence or not, but again, if I can make something of RJ Harvey, upgrade in my eyes. Top 20 wide receiver would be an upgrade in my eyes. I'd be making this move instantly because it helps your team now, and I think it helps you. It doesn't really hurt your team in the future either. Now, obviously, if RJ Harvey is one of your only 2-3 running backs, you can't make this trade. But if he's a flex or sitting on the bench, I make this deal all day. And then one more for RJ Harvey because there's really not a lot of good ones. He's in a lot of like deals, like multiple player deals. So RJ Harvey in a 2027 first. And this is two quarterback, 12 teams, start 10, full PPR, 1.5 point tight end premium. Like I said, RJ Harvey and a 2027 first round pick. We don't know where that's at though. For James Cook.
I am taking the RJ Harvey and pick side all day. I'm taking the pick because I can do whatever the heck I want to do with. Excuse me, I can do with that pick. RJ Harvey and James Cook are going to produce similarly toward the end of this year, in my opinion. I think Josh Allen is starting to take this team by the reins, and we saw with 6 touchdowns from Josh Allen. Like, you're going to lose some. You're going to lose something there. I think RJ Harvey is poised to get more carries. I don't think he's comfortable. I don't think Denver is comfortable with him being the number one guy, but I do think he's poised to get more carries and get more action. And if he can produce at the levels of the minimum volumes that he's had under the J.K. Dobbins era, then I think he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. But when I look at the two trades and I look at like player versus player, I like to go with longevity. So like to the Brian Thomas trade, I like what you were saying with the Brian Thomas being selected over the RJ Harvey because I'm going with the longevity. I'm taking the top 20 wide receiver, and the running backs are the shelf life is so complicated. So I think you're having the same gamble by having RJ Harvey and James Cook simultaneously on the same side. So I'm going to take the pick on the upcharge.
No, I like that call, and I think this is a trade that you make if you're out and have James Cook. This
said.
This seems like it's a move to like solidify a championship in my eyes, because if it's 50-50 on during the offseason and you're not fighting for a championship.
Yeah. That's tough.
I think this is a pretty even trade, but I do like the 27. You know how much I love the 27 class, so that kind of stirs me.
It's such a good sweetener. Yeah. It's not a third round. You said it's a second, correct?
Or no, first? It's first.
It's a first, yeah. So like it's such
it's
a
first in 27 though, not 26,
right?
Which helps me out more in my
right. Yeah, because you like that class more, and then again we're dealing with you could do a lot with that pick. You can either keep that pick, you can sell that pick for other pieces down the road. You can sell a pick for pieces permanently or for the present time. So, no, I think the pick is the sweetener here. If I think it was anything, if it was a second, you'd have to really twist my arm. It would have to be a 26 second for it to be a second. But I think with it being a first, I'm willing to hold my breath on the 27, and I'm switching the running backs. But I think you nailed it on the head when you said about making this deal if you're out of it for James Cook, because we could very well see with James Cook what we started seeing with Saquon Barkley this year, where he has himself one hell of a year and then the wheels fall off.
No, well said. Yeah. Like I said, if it's off season, I'm probably taking, like I think you said the same thing. I'm taking the pick and Harvey. And I can figure out something else to do with Harvey later. If that makes sense. So last one we're going to go with here. Real quick, we're only going to do a couple because a lot of them are package deals, and we don't like figuring out all that packaging stuff. So Chase Brown, someone who started really rough and has now climbed his way back in to relevancy. This is a really interesting one to me because I'm biased on one side, but we'll talk about it anyway. 2 quarterback, 12 teams, start 9, half PPR. Chase Brown, a 26th first and a 26th third for Drake May.
What? Can you give me the league specs again?
I knew that was coming. 2 quarterback, 12 teams, start 9, half point PPR.
I'm keeping Drake May, or I'm taking Drake May. Whatever side is Drake May, I'm taking Drake May. You have an opportunity to get Drake May and a 2 quarterback, and you need to take that opportunity and run. And ironically, you're running it with Chase Brown. I'm moving the picks. No, Drake May's showing that he is legitimate, and again, with it being a two QB, I think it's a no brainer.
Drake May should be worth 3 to 4 first round picks, and this does not make it anywhere near, in my opinion, because I think that's where Josh Allen is, and he's 4 or 5 years younger than Josh Allen, maybe even more. Um, and he's starting to look a little bit like him.
Yes.
So Jaden Daniels, same thing. Like these guys are worth 3 to 4 first round picks in my eyes, and this is nowhere near that. This might be 2.5. So I smash Drake May here, unless you might have Josh Allen in. I don't even know. I still make this deal probably and figure it out
In
afterwards.
a two QB, I mean, it's gonna
Like
you have to already have two stellar QBs for me to say no to this trade,
I
and
would
that's
trade
hard
one
to
of the other
believe.
two. I would trade one of the other two and get more.
Wow,
Like
well, perfectly said. I
that is
stand
a steal
corrected.
in my opinion.
I
Absolute
stand
steal.
corrected. Yeah, I stand corrected. That's a great call out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
trade one of the other ones. That's
Right.
funny. That's a good one.
And then this was an interesting one straight up. Chase Brown for Cam Scatterbo. Uh, so this is two quarterback, 12 teams, start 11, full PPR, half point tight end premium. Not that matters.
Present day, I'm taking Chase Brown. I don't like runners with significant ligament or bone structure damage. And we're seeing it with Pacheco. I'm not saying that Scadabo is going to be this type of thing because this is a different injury. It's not as severe as Pacheco's was, but I know what I'm getting with Chase Brown. I don't know what I'm getting with Scadabo now. I'm rolling the dice, and I'm going to continue rolling with Chase Brown.
No, it would be hard for me to not go for Cam, but I understand your mentality on that. I just absolutely love Cam Scatterbo. I think he.
Six weeks ago, I'm smashing that. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Him healthy.
when
This isn't
Chase
even a
with
question.
him healthy, yeah, with him healthy, even when he was healthy, that's when Chase Brown really started producing.
Hmm.
So like it would have been something that you could compare the two because Scadabo was on the Giants who weren't going to make the playoffs and he was a rookie, and you have Jackson Dart who's a running quarterback, so you have those things going against you in regards to the Scadabo argument, and then you got Chase Brown who was just coming in. So like I think it's a little bit more even if we're talking the week before Scadabo hurts himself because then we're talking two totally different running backs.
No, absolutely. And then we're gonna do. I have a question for you, and then we're gonna do one more. So Chase Brown and any first. What are you thinking? So 26, 27, 28 doesn't matter. Chase Brown, is he worth a first?
If I'm competing, yes. But I think to Chase Brown for the first, any of them goes in the same aspect as how you worded it with James Cook. I think if I am not competing or I'm not making the playoffs this year, I'm shipping Chase Brown for that first because we don't know what the heck's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals going into next year. But if I am competing, I'm keeping that Chase Brown stock because he is producing and he is a consistent offensive piece in that offense.
Yeah. It's tough because he's like right at that cusp. Like it feels not right to give a first for him because you don't know his future.
Right.
But I think he might be worth it right now down the stretch.
He is a prime example of getting more than what you should be getting because it's the trade deadline and playoffs. He is at
Well
absolute
said.
peak value at now because you're going to get somebody. The only way you're going to get a first for him is if someone's desperate, and you're not going to find a more time than now than for someone to be coming at you desperate. So if I'm not in the playoffs, I'm moving Chase Brown for that first. But if I'm looking around for compete pieces with a first to blow, Chase Brown is not one I say no to.
Well said. I like that. I like the way you explained that. That's right. That's you were kind of in my head on
Cool.
that on that one. And
Excellent.
then last one, just because I think it's kind of interesting to upgrade. So you're upgrading from Chase Brown here. Chase Brown at 27 first and a 28 third. Two quarterback, 10 team, start nine, half point PPR. Devon 18.
Ooh.
I mean, this dude is run amok.
Yeah. I think I'm taking the HN side. I think you nailed it on the head. I think it's a significant upgrade, and I think the pick values are worth it. I think you're going to have the same shelf life, or excuse me, I think you're going to have less shelf life with Chase Brown as you are HN because HN not only has the draft capital to help him, but he's also the production to help him. He's showing what he's capable of doing. He's not going to stay in Miami. The dude's going to get a contract somewhere and he's going to produce significantly well. It's going to be like Saquon Barkley 2.0. He's just going to go somewhere else and he's going to produce out of his mind. To your point, yeah, HN is run amok. I think I'm taking HN.
I didn't even think about the not being in Miami move, but this is a move you make again. This is okay. I have the shot. I need a hammer, and you are selling the farm to make that happen. Is how I feel like this is going because you have Chase Brown and a 27 first that you're willing to give for another running back who's about the same age, producing better. Don't get me wrong, but about the same age. So you're not getting younger and better. You're just getting better. So I think this is like a win now move. But man, that 27 first is really, really fun to look at.
You do have eyes for the 27s.
I'm also very biased because I love HN. So if I'm going to, this is kind of the final one we're going to talk about because this is kind of how we're going to wrap this up. I think we figured out that this is happening a lot. If you have a shot, go take it, win the chip, and sell whatever you need to make it happen, right? And that's what one of these. That's what this move is. Just like some of those other ones we talked about earlier. Now it may look 2 years later, 3 years later down the road, and it looks like the worst trade you may have ever made because Chase Brown is just as good as HN or just a little bit lesser, and then that first round pick is just a sicko. It's very well that could happen. But if you have a chance to win a chip now, you make this move 10 out of 10 times. If it's in the off season, I probably make this move 3 out of 10 times, but or 4 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? Like closer to 50-50.
Yeah, I think it's 50-50, man. I think it really. I think it really. Yeah, I think it's just right down the middle of the 50-50. I think it really all depends on the situation itself, but I think more often than not, it might actually happen.
But that's what it feels like we've been looking at today, and this is kind of where we're going to end. Is people are looking to win the chip, and this is how they're doing it. They're selling a little bit less to get good now, or they're selling a little bit more to get good now, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
A little bit of overpricing to be able to win the chip this year because they think they can, and can't fault them for it. That's where you win your money. That's what the whole thing's about. Is winning the money. If you're in a money league, if you're in a fun league, well, it's all about pride, and you want to win anyway. So it's always about the win, and that's what we do this for. So that's kind of what we wanted to. Inadvertently, that's kind of what we ended up showing everybody. Is if you are in the playoffs, do what you can to make it happen. If you're not in the playoffs, people are going to come looking, and be open. You have to be open. People have to know you're open. Sometimes people don't show that and miss out on great deals like we just were talking about. So before we get out of here, is there anything else you wanted to say, talk about, anything?
No, I like their banter with this trade things. It has me thinking of a few different scenarios and everything else to go back to. Folks, if you have a trade deadline, it's now or never. Like, don't wait, don't hesitate for the deals that you're thinking about. Make an act. It's free to ask. If you don't think they're going to take it, it's because you don't think they're going to take it. You don't know they're going to take it. Take it. Make an offer. Reach out to these people. Be the aggressor. Be the pursuist. Be the one that's out there looking for the deals. You go get the deals, not let them come to you.
Yeah, and that's both sides. That's how you make your team better, and that's how you win chips. That's how you make your team better whenever you're terrible this year, and that's how you win chips whenever you have that opportunity. So, absolutely agree with you there. Make the offers. Try again. Try even more. So, well said there, Ackman. So we're going to get out of here. A little bit longer of a show, I believe. So we apologize for that, but some good content there at the end. So next week we'll be talking KTC. So we're going to do some keep trade cuts, position wise, like out of these three quarterbacks, who would you keep, trade, and cut? So we'll do that next week. A little fun game there. So for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Check us out on Podbean, YouTube, and Apple. Also, check us out on our socials at Blue Sky and X at dynastymttops. And then also email us, dynastymttops@gmail.com, for any comments, questions, show ideas that you may have that you want to hear. We'd love to bring those to you. So again, for Jeremy, this is Mickey. I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Have a great week and good luck on the playoffs.
Thanks a lot, guys.